So I really wasn't sure if I was actually going to sit down and make this video, but I just got a text message and I thought I definitely have to talk about this now. But I'll explain a little bit more about that later in the video. But for now, let's get into it. There's a bit of a theme to this video because it all started with a text message. A couple of months ago, I got a message from my friend's brother's girlfriend saying, "Can you talk?" I thought this was really random, but I got on the phone with her and she basically told me that she was engaged. They'd set a date, the 22nd of December, and she told me that the only people who knew about it were her husband-to-be, Kieran, and now me. They told me that they wanted to have a really small ceremony at a registry office with just their parents there. So that put me in a bit of a predicament straight away because I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to keep this a secret now for the next 6 weeks. But she asked if I would be their wedding photographer. Now, this wedding was probably the most nervous that I've been for a shoot for maybe 2 or 3 years, and it was for a few reasons. The first reason, of course, was having to keep it a secret from my friend for 6 weeks. I really didn't know how he was going to react when he found out that his brother had got married and he wasn't invited, for one thing. And then to find out on top of that, I was there on the day. I didn't know how that was going to go over. The second thing, I've never shot a wedding in a registry office, so there was a bit of unknown there for me because I wasn't really sure how the day was going to go. Then there was the choice of what camera I was going to use. When Jen and I had a phone call, she said she was going to put a Pinterest board together, and I thought this is the perfect opportunity to use my X100VI, which I've never shot a wedding with before. I thought this would be a good chance to do that because it's a really good opportunity to take the images that would be perfect to capture their day in the style that they wanted. And then the final thing that sort of caused me the most anxiety was Jen was going to be 8 months and 3 weeks pregnant. So we were cutting it very, very fine. So Jen being, not just being pregnant, but being that pregnant, it meant that she wasn't going to be particularly mobile. So after we finished at the registry office, there was only a certain distance to places that we were going to be able to go to. As well, it probably meant that we weren't going to have as much time to take the portraits because she's going to be uncomfortable. So these were things that we spoke about in the lead up to the wedding day, and I sort of came up with a plan for how the shoot would go, but it really was going to be a case of on the day working it out as we went, which made me a little unsettled. So anyway, in this video, we're going to go through the day and I'm going to show you photos from each part of the shoot, and we're going to see whether the Fujifilm X100VI is a suitable camera for wedding photography. So we started in the pub in the Fleece in Chelmsford. It was really hard not to take all of the photos in black and white because the monochrome picture profile looks so good on the X100VI. So I sort of flicked between that setting and I flicked between the Astia Soft film simulations. This is the Astia Soft, and the colours in this photo I think really sum up why people choose to buy this camera. I think this looks gorgeous, the photos. This is Jen and Kieran's firstborn son, Jude. Jude was the absolute star of the show. You'll see why a little bit later on. Here he is again with his nan. Yeah, this goes to show you sort of how nice that sort of film simulation look is in the monochrome. You can see why I kept the camera in this function for the majority of the shoot. And then this was us on the move. Something that's interesting on shooting on a camera like this is that you only have one focal length, so you have to be really conscious of what you're putting in and out of your frame. Which I think makes for better photos generally because more thought goes into what you're including and excluding rather than just sort of getting everything in a scene. Here's them walking into Chelmsford Library, which is where the registry office is. Yeah, the colour photos in here, they have sort of vintage feel. Some of these sort of tube LED lights, they have either a magenta or a green sort of hue to them. I think as you can see in these images, and I think is accentuated by the film simulation. So yeah, this was sort of the first hurdle that happened on the day. We found out that I wasn't going to be allowed in the room while the wedding is actually taking place. I thought, okay, well, the ceremony's going to finish. I'm probably going to be allowed in to take a couple of photos, but that's going to have to happen quite quickly. And then we're going to head over to somewhere else, and that's going to put a lot of pressure on me to get some good photos in that area, because I haven't been able to get many good photos of the pair of them. This was a nice image. Obviously there were so many constraints put on us through the ceremony, but what I try to do is sort of use that as an opportunity to be as creative as possible. I think this photo is a good example. You've got the sort of the ceremony in progress sign down here, their son looking through, and managed to frame them. Luckily they were standing close enough together, and we had the right angle where we can see both of their faces. So then they finally did let us into the room, and I was just sort of snapping away, trying to get as many photos as I could. Obviously the lighting in this room was never going to be great, so it was all about getting the expressions on people's faces. And this is a photo that they absolutely loved. As you can see on his top, it says Mummy and Daddy just got married. At the end of the shoot, they wanted to tell their friends and family that they had got married, and they wanted to do it by sending this photo out. I was really worried because their mums and dads were standing behind taking pictures on their phone of this moment. And so I saw that they'd sent to Kieran and Jen these photos, and I was worried that they were going to be the photos that they sent out to the family and friends, rather than the photo from the photographer that they'd asked to be there. So I had to get this photo to them as quickly as I possibly could from Chelmsford Town Centre, which is where I left them. And so I downloaded the Fujifilm app to download the photos straight off of the camera, do a quick edit on my phone, and then send it out to them. And getting those photos off the app was really challenging. It wouldn't be a deal breaker for buying this lens, and it's not something that you generally need to do on a wedding day, but that was just something that I felt was really frustrating. But I got the photos to them in time, and this was the photo that they sent out at the end of the day, so it was all okay. We're after the ceremony now, so yeah, as I mentioned, we didn't have a lot of options for where we were going to take our portraits. We decided to walk to the closest park, which was probably, I don't know, 150 meters away. So yeah, this is them walking into the park now. Family group portrait. I thought that the colours looked really nice here. We just had that low. It must have only been like sort of 1:30, 2 o'clock, but the sun was so low because it was near the winter solstice when this, I think it might have actually been on the winter solstice day. So the sun never really got too high up in the sky the whole day. We've got this nice sort of backlight on them, and the colours look lovely as well. And then we got a couple of family photos. Yeah, I think this was probably my favourite photo from the day. You can see their wedding rings on their fingers. She's holding her bump. Yeah, a nice shot of little family. The other camera that I use, I had my A7 IV just on my hip with the Retropia disposable film camera lens. One of the sort of the styles that Jen liked was the disposable film camera look, and so I thought I'd bring that with me. I didn't have as many opportunities to use it as I would have liked to. I decided to use it when they were walking from the, what would you call it, the registry office to the park, and these were those images. These were good, and I gave Kieran my sunglasses for this photo. He said, all right, you can take one like this, but I don't like wearing sunglasses. And it's a nice picture. This was a picture that I was really happy with on that day. If you want to hear more about the Retropia disposable film camera lens, then the last video that I put out on this channel was about that lens, so you can have a look at that and my thoughts on that lens. So yeah, I left them there. They were all really happy with their day. By the time the wedding day arrived, I'd made plans for that evening. There was a Christmas quiz night at my local pub, and I was going to see the groom's brother before the groom and potentially get all of the flack for what had happened if he wasn't happy about it. And I got there, and obviously he'd got the picture of Jude standing on the table, and he said it was fine. That was what Kieran and Jen had always wanted to do. Ollie and Kieran's mum and dad got married in a registry office with just their parents. Jen's parents did the exact same thing, and he said that's what they wanted, and I'm really happy for them. And we had a nice evening in the pub, losing at the pub quiz. Cool, so I guess going back to the camera then, would I recommend using the X100VI as a wedding camera? I'd use it as like a B camera probably. It takes some really good pictures. I was really impressed with the film simulations, and I like the restraints it puts on you to choose what you put in and leave out of the frame when you're taking your photographs. So overall, maybe as like a B camera or a C camera, I would give it a go. Would I shoot a full wedding day with just this camera? I don't think I would. I think I'd probably prefer to use my A7 IV with my selection of zoom lenses, which allow me to comfortably get the coverage that I need. So what was the text message that I got at the start of this filming session? It was, of course, that Jen has now had the baby, born on the 4th of Jan at 11:06, £7 and 4 ounces. There you go. Can you see her? Thanks for watching.